jolly good.
Hello, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clank Zoka. Welcome to another My Thoughts On. Today, I'm going to be talking about Tooth. No, not the tooth that's in your mouth, the movie Tooth. Not Teeth, not the Tooth Fairy with Dwayne Johnson, and not the sequel with Larry the Cable Guy. No, there is a movie called Tooth that was released in 2004, and it is a British/American family comedy movie that I get the feeling that people either remember from their childhoods, or it's one of those films where they swear they had a fever dream about this. Similar with films like the Magic Pudding or Thunderpads, or the Magic Roundabout for that matter. It's a film that people could have swore that they saw in their childhoods or remember it, but it could have been a dream, it's weird with these very strange kids movies. Tooth is one of the most strangest films I've ever seen. I've watched this like a month before doing the My Thoughts On series like years and years ago. I can't remember where I watched it, but it was illegal. So this film is directed by Edouard Namor. I don't know where he's from, but there you go. The only other information I can find in terms of what else he's done is Roots in Water, where he did the visual effects. Yeah. Also, information about this film is like minimal. Like, the only things I could find are the trailer. There's a VHS opening by Ryan the Movie Fan. The IMDb page even doesn't have much to show. There's posters, there's images, but not a lot of information. You can watch it. It's on Prime, it's on YouTube. This was distributed by Lionsgate, or formerly known at the time when this film came out as Red Bus Distribution. Yeah. This film stars Harry Enfield, Vinnie Jones, Stephen Fry, Richard E. Grant, Sally Phillips, and the voice of Jim Broadbent. Yeah, I'm doing the fucking trailer again. So this is a film that I just watched, and I just remember not a lot about it. I quickly it was instantly forgettable. But has it changed since I last watched it? Well, let's take a look. The film is about this fairy named Tooth, and she is played by Yasmin Page. And you know what she does? She gives a girl lots of money for a tooth. So basically she works for a tooth society like company where they go out and give them the money and remove the tooth, which sounds like Arthur Christmas, and it's quite clever actually. However, she is the typical, main character who is the loser and always screws up kind of character. However, Tom, played by Rory Coppas, and his sister, Tolly, who Tooth gave the money to, now spend it a lot on whatever they want. And you have to hide it from their parents, played by Tim Dutton and Sally Phillips. However, there is this evil corporation named Plug, led by Mr. Plug, played by Harry Enfield. And he wants to hunt down fairies. I don't remember the reason why, but it's done. And so it's up to Tooth and the boy and the girl to eventually save the world from the hunters. Their parents gets taken by a rabbit voiced by Jim Broadbent, who works for the company. And while they're at it, they meet some other characters as well, including Jarvis, played by Richard E. Grant. There's also Stephen Fry's there, Vinnie Jones as well. And they have to try and get magic back from Mrs. Claus, I guess, played by Philidia Law. Where do I start? This movie is strange and all over the place. Let's start off with the tone. The tone is played at a family audience. However, the tone for this movie in particular is weird. Like, it's humour, it's silly, wacky nonsense, but like it's weird. There are times in the movie where I couldn't tell whether it was funny or trying too hard to be meta or weird. God, I really couldn't put my head around it. The humour is all over the place. I did laugh a few times because the film was genuinely funny at times, but not all the time. It's strange. It is really, really strange. I laughed a few times at the silly stuff that's meant to be funny, and a couple of funny lines here and there, which did work. And there was an occasional creative or entertaining moment. But everything else about it it's not bad, it's just kind of hard to put together, really. Well, first off, the movie is set in the US, although apparently there's like UK people in it as well. You know, in the houses, in the Fairytopia place. This film is confusing as all hell for me to put together, but you know. Some of them are British, some of them are American as well. I'm not saying it's good, I'm saying it's strange. Like, legit strange. Like, how do I put it? The film is trying to be quirky, silly nonsense. I guess in some ways it does succeed at that, but it's also weird. It's also a really strange movie that has so much going on, and I really can't put into words just how strange and all over the place this film is. The film is predictable as all hell. It's all about believing in yourself, and it isn't. This film does get very preachy at times, and it doesn't help that the fact this film is honestly not anything that's groundbreaking. It's a very typically standard kids film, and the story doesn't help either. The opening credits to the movie is some of the most just cheapest things I've ever seen, and is also very fast as well. It's weird. Like I said, this movie is weirdly all over the place. Like I said, I've laughed a few times. There was some really funny lines, but mostly it didn't really click with me. It just didn't. I didn't smile. I didn't smirk. It was just. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I love strange humor, but this humor was not only strange. It was bizarrely, unenthusiastically strange. This could work if it was like Thunderpants or I'm trying to think of another kids film, or like Paddington if it worked in that similar style. And although I think Thunderpants did it a little bit better, this film, I'll give it credit that it looks like it doesn't want to be a drama or anything like that. I'll give it credit that the idea is quite cool, that they live in a society where fairies are like secret agents, even though I think this would have worked better if the production was bigger, and I'll get to that in a minute. I like the idea of the two fairies that run a society where they get tooth and put money in it. Again, it's like Arthur Christmas, not just because Jim Broadbent is in both movies, but it's very similar. And there's also other like fairy tale, memorable people, like memorable like legends, like there's Santa Claus, Mrs. Claus. There's also a lot of other fairy characters one is a chef. It's weird, but kind of creative. I'll give him that. But the thing is, The thing is, it's. I'm lost for words. I am legit lost for words. I can't even put it into words. Oh, it's weird. It's very, very weird. I didn't. There were a few moments in the film, like I said, I enjoyed that were very strange and weird. I wasn't bored. I can say that I wasn't bored. But with all the strangeness, I did kind of have a good time in a guilty pleasure kind of a way. It's weird. I can see what the filmmakers were trying to present, but I don't know if it was intentionally weird or anything like that, or if it's supposed to be like a great comedy for kids. But I can tell you, it's nor a great drama. I mean, the drama's just very basic and predictable. It's not a very funny movie. I mean, I laughed a few times, but mainly it's like, eh. And the sequence of events are predictable, silly, makes no sense, and it makes me question the concept of the movie. But with all that said, I did kind of enjoy how silly and how little sense little sense it makes. It's kind of admirable. It's not good storytelling or anything big, but I kinda liked it for how silly it is and just kind of having fun. You know. Visuals. Yep, you can tell this is from 2004 because this film looks cheap as fuck. Like, this is one of the most mid 2000 looking movies I've ever seen. And if that's a good thing, then, well, I think this film is for you. I'm not surprised that this film looks that strange looking. Well, not strange looking, but it has a style that I can't exactly put into words. Yeah. 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 Okay, the production of the movie, even though you can tell the production is very, very small, and it's not even all that great, it looks fine for a small budget movie, and you can tell because because it's on the BFI website, so I assume UK Film Council funded the project because the film looks like Thunderpants or Three Children and Five Children in it. I forgot the title there for a minute. It just looks like a very campy, very basic looking, but also very looking kids film. At times it reminded me of like Spy Kids. It reminded me of like a game show as well, like a kids show. Also, like it looked very familiar, but also didn't look very huge or big. It looked very small and very clanky. However, I do admire its look. The film looks pretty decent for how small the budget is, because I can tell you it's not big. It does look fine, and the puppeteering on the rabbit looks pretty good, and he actually is well designed. The costumes for most of these characters, nothing special really. They just wear suits in the fairy business. Everyone else, including like the Plug gang, look pretty cool. The practical effects are pretty good. They're not half bad actually. They look nice, I suppose. Even the locations are not even that interesting, and even where the characters live looks creative and looks very like late 90s or early 90s. It looks admirably dull, and I like that. But with that said, everything else about it is highly standard British film look. Like, you can tell UK Film Council had their hand in this film, even though the film does not credit them, which is weird, but it is on the BFI website, so it does count. But yeah, you can tell this movie is incredibly dull looking, kind of cheap. It doesn't look amazing. It looks, for the most part, admirably odd, weird, strange, but also colourful. This movie is incredibly colourful. And the effects, even though they are kind of bad, I kind of like them. Again, just in a very guilty pleasure kind of a way. And that's probably why I enjoy this film more than I could actually remember, actually. But, yeah, that's all I can say. It's not awful. It looks, again, serviceable for what it wanted to be in terms of being a somewhat decent kids film in terms of the looks, not in terms of how it is, really, I suppose. So, on one hand, it looks admirable in terms of the silly, wacky, cheap stuff, but also it looks, there is effort put into it, it looks colourful, and production is not too bad. It's decent at best. But, yeah, that's it. That's literally all I've got. It's not good, not bad, it's fine. It looks good for how cheap it is, but it's not exactly Thunderpants, and even Thunderpants I thought did it better. But I'll give them credit for at least trying to make it look different and have it look weird and wacky, and practically it works. Even if it's not great production, I like it on both looks decent for a low budget level and also just for how bizarrely bad it looks. So it's a 50-50 50-50 look, I guess. 50-50 something. It's fine for what it is, I suppose. Characters and acting. The characters in Tooth are, once again, like the story and the visuals, bizarrely strange and weird. All these phrases and all these lines they say are bizarre, kind of boring, but I guess admirable, if you can call it that. Our main character, Tooth, is just the, odd one out main character who has to save the day after she screwed up, and she's not that good of a main character. She's bratty, annoying, boring, and obviously she becomes popular in the end. Yeah, it's a spoiler, I know, but really, what did you expect from a movie like this? She's not a great main character, and even the two kids, Tom and Tolly, they're boring as hell. One of them is like the over-imaginative kid, like Boss Baby, but the whole, imagination stuff with the parents is weird because it doesn't connect to anything. It's not like his sister is actually getting more attention than him. Even the sister is just blandly annoying, blandly annoying by saying all these random things, and she's like a naive but also cute little girl. The parents are just confusing dull couples. One of them, I don't know. The mum, played by Sally Phillips, is a cop, and the dad, who's supposed to be a rock star but has lost his touch. They're both uninspiringly boring, bland, unfunny characters. Everyone else I kind of like, but that's not saying too much. The villain, Plug, is pretty entertaining, but he's also stupid. The rabbit is pretty funny, and he does have some funny lines. Jarvis is okay, I suppose. The extractor is disappointing. He's played by Vinnie Jones, who is... Okay, I'll get to that in a minute. Stephen Fry's Pedro actually has a good funny scene that just kind of goes by quickly. Mrs. Claus is there for conveniences, and everyone else can... I don't know, they're just there. However, with the acting is kind of what makes these characters weirdly fun. Like Space Jam 2. The actors do put so much, heart and effort into what they do just to give this film life, and it kind of works for how weird it is. Like Yasmin, what's her name? Oh shit, I lost it. Yasmin Page, really good as Tooth. I thought she was a rather admirable main actress. I thought she was really superb, like super 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 good. Um, Rory Coppice is fine as Tom. Macy Preston as Tolly is also fine, I guess. Everyone else does a pretty great job, like Vinnie Jones as the Extractor, even though I think he's a little bit too soft here in terms of an action star who starred in Guy Ritchie films and, like, horror action stuff. He's in a kids film. I mean, it's not the first time he was in a kids film, but he does charm me a little bit, and he is kind of likable, but it is weird. It is really really weird, like very strange. But he does give his all. Stephen Fry, always a delight. Can't argue with that. Harry Enfield hammers up his performance in that Kevin, loads of money way. He's great. I could see this being like one of his own sketch characters, but since he plays it rather too dumbly and too safe, he doesn't quite stand out. Jim Broadbent's voice performance is good, but at times he reminded me of Madame Gasket from Robots, which he also voiced, so yeah. However, all these actors, even if their performances are far from their best, they do give that weird, strange, whimsical life to their characters, and even if the characters are boringly dull, they actually make them kind of fun and entertaining in a way. The characters have no right to be good, but thanks to some bizarre but pretty fun acting, they are actually kind of strangely admirable and bizarre in that way. And I kind of enjoyed that, seriously. The music by Guy Fletcher is your typical movie, kids movie music. That's just nothing inspiring. It's perfectly nice. It's nice to listen to, but it's nothing new. It's just bland. Also, fun fact: Rupert Grint. No, that wouldn't make much of a difference. Rupert Gregson Williams, the composer of Thunderpants and all those most of the DreamWorks films anyway, he actually came in as an orchestra and an additional musician for the score. There's your fun fact. It's hard to put into words if this movie is trying to be good. I can't say it is, but I don't think it's trying to be garbage. I think this is a guilty pleasure, perfectly watchable movie. Tooth is not breaking grounds. Tooth isn't bad, but it's weird. Like Space Jam 2, a film that I didn't expect to like, but I kind of did. And how weird and strange and how kind of unique it is. This film kind of did that, but not as good as, didn't do it as well as Space Jam. Thunderpants is better, but this film I weirdly enjoy. The acting's hammy, and they do give the characters a bit of that weird personality. Visually, it looks cheap, but it looks pretty decent for a low budget, and it's creative. It was funny for how strange and just how quick it is as well. Like, self-awareness is pretty good. Story's journey is nothing new. The concept is kind of clever, and I had a weirdly good time. Weird, good, like strange, good. I had a weirdly nice, strange, bizarre time with these sequences that are kind of fun and weird for how cheap and lackey they look. And I like it in that guilty pleasure kind of a way. However, I am not here to ignore all of all the flaws. I'm here to acknowledge them. The flaws in the film are still there, and they still give the film that tacky, cheap look to them. Production, as decent as it looks very cheap. The effects look awfully, laughably bad. The villain is boringly safe. Even the acting is not their best, and they're just playing it up as being cartoony. Tooth is a very boring main character, and the kids are boring too. The story's predictably preachy and cheap, and you know what's going to happen. It's not exactly a high watermark in terms of kids' films, and this one I can easily see why people hate it. This has got a 3 out of 10 on IMDb, which I wouldn't say is that low, but Thunderpan's got 3.8, so I don't quite see the hatred, but it's not good, but there's worse things. And I can see why this is like a very forgotten kids film in terms of everything I said. So yeah, if you've got kids, they'll like it fine. The only ways you can watch it is on YouTube, on Prime. I don't know if it's on Netflix, wouldn't be surprised since, Lionsgate owns the film. It's on DVD as well, and the fucking poster and DVD cover looks bland as hell. Like, it looks ridiculous. Kids will like it, adults will probably forget about it in maybe a day. But watch it as a guilty pleasure, like so bad it's good movie kind of a way. Like, kind of like Horrid Henry or something, where it's not good, but you had a good time by how silly it is. So, with Tooth, I can't remember what rating I gave it. I gave it a 4. You know what? I'll give it a 5.5 out of 10. It's not good. It's not terrible, but it's in the middle-y guilty pleasure way. It's in the middle. I kind of liked it, even if it wasn't that good. It was a strange good time. That's all I've got to say. Really. It's one of the strangest films I've ever watched. And I'm kind of glad I watched it, so yeah, Tooth. What a strange little film. On Wednesday, I'm going to be talking about a film related to a certain sport that happened a few weeks ago that people are pissed over about. And if you're wondering, no, I'm not talking about the England game. I'm going to be talking about, from what I've heard, a very small, upbeat football movie called There's Only One Jimmy Grimble. I think that's what it's called. Hang on. Yeah, I was right. So look forward to that on Wednesday, and on Friday, well, that's for you to find out. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. And don't forget to like, comment, and most importantly, oh yeah, have you seen Tooth? If you have, tell me what you thought about it. Is it good, bad, decent? Do you want to see it? Let me know below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. And until next time, bye for now.